So this is an amazing marketplace. I know you heard a lot earlier about the women's market in general, but I want to tell you a few things about the U.S. aging population as a whole, because while we're talking about women today, it's really the boomer generation as a whole. Every 7 seconds, someone in the U.S. is going to be turning 50 years old. That means some of us in this room perhaps in the next 7 seconds. The 50-plus population is expected to double in the next 35 years. There are over 100 million when you take a look at everybody from boomer age 42 to 64 on up. We're talking about a market of 100 million people. And people age 45 to 64 is going to grow 30% over the coming decade, while adults 40 and under are going to be at a 0% increase. So, I mean, the question is why is everybody going after this beloved demographic of the younger demographic, whether it's the car companies or apparel companies or whatever? They're absolutely missing the market. And again, because of the nature of what you do, it makes a lot of sense that financial planners are really in the natural and organic position to take advantage of where the bulk of the money is. So what are the top financial concerns? Well, it's obvious, and all of you could probably tell me what's on the chart, but affording retirement is number one, and affording health care costs is number two. The thing is that these are mesmerizing issues. Those of you who work with boomer women, I think you know something about them, and that is that many of your clients, and particularly those who aren't your clients yet, they're like deers in the headlights. You feel inadequate. They don't know. They don't know about their own future, and they haven't started. They started way late, and some people say, "Oh, those boomers, why did they plan better?" Well, let me tell you something. Was anybody in this room in a grade room in the 50s? Yes. And so what happened? If you recall in the 1950s, does anybody remember duck and roll, where we had to go under our desks and put your heads down because there was going to be a nuclear holocaust any day? I mean, you're 5 or you're 6 years old, and these things are being basically inculcated into your DNA that the world is such a shaky place. And is there any wonder that this generation grew up without thinking about the long-term future? I mean, I think that's a little bit unrealistic. So, for these people, for the people of this generation, the red zone, it's compelling. There is this notion, I love it, because there is this sense of emergency. When you're in denial, something has to wake you up. When you're a deer in the headlights, something has to come and shake you up and say, wait a minute, you're in the red zone, lights flashing. You may have conquered every issue you've come to in your life so far, but this is the time, and this is the place, and I'm the one that can help you. So about women in particular, they are more than half the boomers, and the percentage is growing for the reasons that Sherry told you earlier. And they influence 80% of the $2.1 trillion of consumer purchases. Now, would any of you have seen Diane Keaton on the cover of a cosmetic ad even a couple of years ago? You wouldn't have seen it. And the fact that even the cosmetic companies now are waking up to the fact that being a boomer woman, it's cool, as long as you still look good. I think that's the real key. But, and many of us are, with the help of modern technology. And but yeah, they're finding that if you put a cool-looking boomer woman on the cover of a magazine, like More magazine, and you leave the little laugh lines in, they actually sell more copies than if you take them out. And yeah, she just looks terrific there. So I want to give you a case history here, which is not from the financial field, but we can certainly learn from it. Because as you've learned from a lot of your examples, boomer women, they learn from experience. They want to have a firsthand experience of something. For reasons I'm going to tell you shortly, they don't trust a whole lot. They have to know it's real, which is a challenge for a financial product, but we're going to get into some issues and some ways that you might be able to get around that. But let me first give you a very tangible sample. So I speak all over the world, and I got to tell you that in Frankfurt, Germany, more people know how to make guacamole than there are in Minneapolis. Okay? This is a challenge for the California Avocado Commission. And so they decided that they had to do something, and they did know about the research that said that women want to experience firsthand. And so they did a very smart thing. They went into some of the finest restaurants in Minneapolis, and they did tableside service of where the waiter comes and makes guacamole dip tableside. And the people were all fascinated and loved it, and it was, it broke the ice, which is a great thing. But the interesting thing is the California Avocado Commission says our target age for the new experimental consumer has been creeping up. Now, why did they say that? Well, they expected that it was going to be women in their late 20s and 30s that were going to be the big adopters of avocados in the Midwest. It turned out to be older boomers, people in their later 40s, into the 50s, and even into their 60s. So again, a lot of the myths that say that a woman makes her choices at a young age and then sticks with them the rest of her life, that's what they're really saying, is just not true. So in a bit, I'm going to talk to you about which boomers that is true for. But it used to be, and there's still a certain percentage of boomers that will say, I'm going to do exactly what my mom did. She put all of her money in CDs, so that's what I'm going to do. And if you think, okay, well, it's not worth going after boomer women because that's what they do, or that their husbands tell them what to do, they don't think for themselves. The statistics show us that 3 out of 5 boomer women are eager to try new things, willing to take risks and be adventurous, as long as you help them get their comfort level to the point where it's a small step for them. So some of it is like meeting them where they are and moving them forward.